Good morning, everyone. Case number 4, a tourism nightmare. May babasahin po akong kwento and I will explain later. As an introduction to my talk and to simple living the atmosphere, I asked the expat if they know about the place they were now situated in. The hotel was in Lapu-Lapu City and that is where the training was also being held. Their answer were simple. We know. We are in Cebu. I acknowledged their answer and continue with my introduction. Since we are on the subject of Lapu-Lapu City, I personally had a dangerously close encounter with being dumped and murdered because I hurt in the sensibilities of the town mayor. One of the tasks I had to do while in the city was to conduct a one-day mass recruitment exclusively for the constituent of the mayor in the municipal building. As I was screening the applicants who were in line from early in the morning, there were about 500 applicants in line. All of a sudden, I heard a noisy entry into the hall where the screening of the applicant was being held. I was not sure who this young lady walked straight toward me was. She was accompanied by 5 girls, all carrying folder I assume were the resume, as she approached my table. I looked at her, and before I could say anything, she blurted out, "Are you Mr. Alquas?" At the point, I stood up despite the fact I was screening someone and answered, "Yes, I am. What can I do for you?" She extended her hand and said, "I am the mayor's daughter." She was not in the mood for light banter, so went straight to the purpose of his distraction, which was for me to screen the 5 girls she was with and for me to screen them immediately while she waited. So I respectfully told the mayor's daughter that her 5 girls will have to fall in line just like everyone else. She, of course, was displeased with the comment, so without saying anything else, she stormed out of the hall with 5 girls while angrily saying, "Let's see what my father will have to say about this." I guess you imagine that what happened next. After about 15 minutes, another noisy entrance to the hall came. This time, the mayor himself, his daughter, and 5 burly bodyguards, all with pistols, dropped down and went straight to my desk. Since I knew he was the mayor, I stood up. He blurted in a loud voice, "Are you Mr. Alquas?" And I respectfully answered, "Yes, Mr. Mayor, I am. What can I do for you?" He asked me why I embarrassed his daughter, and I told him, straight without any hesitation, while looking straight into his angry eyes. "I respectfully inform your daughter that if she wanted me to screen her applicant, they should all fall in line like everybody else who was been in line as early 6 a.m. My intention was not embarrass your daughter. My intention was to instill the value of discipline and respect to everyone wanting to work in the soon to open the hotel casino from the every evening of the recruitment process." By mid-morning, I was advised by Canadian team to immediately return to the hotel. As I got to the hotel, the Canadian nervously informed me that they had bought me in the earliest ticket back to Manila and that I had quietly left Cebu because they could not assure of my safety. I angered the mayor and his daughter, and the license to operate to the hotel casino could be irreparably. When I was on board and the plane finally took off, that was time I realized the real danger I was in is all because I wanted to be in writing. Dito po sa kwento, dito po is all about sa tamang ginawa ng interviewer sa mga applicant. Hindi hinayaan na mawala ang interviewer yung respeto sa mga aplikante na naghihintay. Inaipakita ito nung yung anak ng mayor ay may kasamang 5 aplikante na gusto ay unahin yung mga kasama niya, pero di pumayag yung interviewer at sinabing gaya ng ibang aplikante na pumila ito ng ayos. Kaya sa point na yon, nagalit yung anak ng mayor, kaya tinawagan niya yung kanyang ama na mayor, pero hindi naman kinonsinti ng ama yung gustong mangyari sa anak niya. Ang pinakikita lang po sa kwentong yan na Kailangan ay ang pagrespeto at pagkakapantay-pantay kahit ano man yung estado mo sa buhay, mahirap ka man o mayaman. Reflection: 5 takeaways from a nightmare story. Number 1. Think before you say something. Number 2. Some politicians and their families in corners believe they are entitled to special treatment anywhere they go. As in this case, they did not care about showing this perceived right to entitlement in front of their helpless constituents who were all in the line of hoping to be screened and interviewed by me. Number 3. The braveness. The braveness of the Cebuano warrior Lapu-Lapu was in the right place when he defeated Ferdinand Magellan in 1521. The arrogance of power, in full display by the city mayor and his daughter, was not in the right place at all. Number 5. Tourism professional will have to be 10 steps ahead when dealing with politicians. Especially accommodation can always be arranged if they are done and carried out properly. Case number 5. Cultural melting pot in the Philippines. In my cultural diversity, the complex issue is that there are many kinds of Filipino as there are dialects in the country, and therefore, I always emphasize the importance of remembering the common thread that make us uniquely Filipino, like our love for God, family, and the karaoke. When we therefore talk about people coming from a particular country, we should also talk about the Filipino who come here from the different regional groupings with their own set of dialects. In the workplace arise from within us Filipino. The opportunity to engage colleagues about the country or province, their custom, tradition, practice, and religious beliefs is better than reading about the books and journal. I have an example of this, a cultural melting pot in the Philippines. One of my most unforgettable experience with long-term engagement I had with an applicant was meeting a young, then 17 years old boy from Samar, one of the poorest province in the country. It was July 1991, 1 year before EDSA's Shangri-La Manila opened. I was reviewing some resume at my desk when I heard a loud knock on my office glass window. My office was situated on the ground floor, and my window looked out of the sidewalk and the show boulevard. Surprised, if not annoyed, I looked out and saw this short, dark, poorly dressed boy looking directly at me with a big grin on his face. Since we are separated by a sound-proof glass window, we could not hear each other, so I had to engage him in sign language. I asked him demonstratively what the knock was all about. Still with a wide grin in his face, he pointed to himself and then pointed to me, gesturing he wanted to go inside the office and talk to me. My initial thought was that I might be talking to someone with a mental disorder. Looking at him carefully, I changed the thought to someone who, like all others in line outside, hoping to be interviewed by the recruitment staff, just wanted to be considered for a job. But I thought again, why knock on my window and not fall in line like all others? To settle all my contesting thoughts, I shouted out loud to office receptionists. Our office had low partition dividers. Liz, please let's boy knocking on my window inside to see me. Liz are efficient, but a loop receptionist shouted back and said, Sir Vic, is it not your instruction not to allow anyone that does not meet minimum physical requirement for the hotel inside the recruitment office? I shouted back and said, let him in. Thus this short, dark, not so neat-looking man was allowed in, escorted straight into my cubicle. Once he reached my door, he stood straight like a military man at my attention and gave me a salute. I thought again this time, telling myself, why did I even allow a nutcase in? Now that we could hear each other, I tell him to put his salute down because I am not a general. He did not put the salute down but explained he was just doing so because he wanted me to know how much he appreciated the fact that I allowed him in. In a moment of silence, while I wondered how to deal with the unique personality, he again started the conversation and quickly asked me if I was going to let him down. Aghast, I asked him to sit down. This particular morning, of the famous knock on my window, this boy had just knocked on the security guard blocking him from entering the office, so I decided to take matter into his own hand and bravely startle me with his loud knock. I said to him, "Okay, so now you are here, what do you want?" Without any doubt or fear in his face, he told me he wanted to apply for a job in the hotel. I retort and tell him, "Look, the hotel is under construction and will open a year from now. Just come back, and after 1 year it's too early to interview you because we are only talking the supervisor and manager at this time. Balik ka na lang next year." I thought that I would be end of this little disturbance in my daily morning interview, but no, it was not to be. He once again looked me straight in the eye and said, "Nakapasok na po ako dito, sir. Hindi na ako aalis." I asked him to tell me, "Who is she? What is your story?" And he began narrating to me a story I have shared 100 times when I speak in campuses all over the Philippines. His name is Tupe Mingote. Tupe is the eldest of 15 children from a poor family. His father is a farmer and his mother is a housewife. Their province is Samar, and therefore that makes Waray. Waray, both male and female, have a reputation of being brave people. In 1991, he was 17. He ventured on a trip on Manila via William Lines. The only thing in his mind was to find a job in the city to help his father and mother feed and hopefully educate his remaining siblings. The big plan was the ones on the ship docked in the port area. As planned, was exactly what he did. The truck he jumped into happened to a big delivery truck found of the Pasig market. The truck driver and assistant did not know that beside the pigs they were delivering to the Pasig market was a young man named Tupe. However, Tupe had other plans. Although he was thankful for this immediately opportunity to Manila, he started exploring if there were other options for someone like him who only finished elementary education. So every day, after his market duty, he would take a bath, dress up, and start wandering around the street of Pasig and Show Boulevard in particular. Excusably, he asked the guard where he could apply for a job at future hotel. The guard looked at Tupe from head to toe. Gave him a personal assessment about how he will never make it, but just the same gave Tupe the reaction of reopening office that was just across the street. From the time of Tupe's discovery of our office to time his now infamous knock at my window, it would have already been 6 months. I hired Tupe Mingote on July 1992 as a laundry operator. He is still working on EDSA Shangri-La, Manila, and is now as a laundry supervisor. Tupe has been awarded several times as an exemplary employee, has been named Employee of the Year among many of the accolades. A lost boy from Samar, Awaray was gone, a long way from being a nobody to being one of the few Filipinos given the opportunity to work with one of the most prestigious international hotel chains in the world, Shangri-La International, without even finishing his elementary education and not being able to speak English. This story is Tupe started working into the Shangri-La at the stage of the 19. This story is all about kay Tupe na isang waray at sa isang worker na sa office na nag-interview kay Tupe. Ipinakita sa case na to na hindi hadlang ang walang pinag-aralan at panlabas na kaanyuan upang magtagumpay sa buhay. Ito ay pinakikita ng tauhang si Tope. Si Tope ng panganay sa 15 magkakapatid na hindi nakapag-aral. Hindi marunong mag-English pero nagtagumpay sa buhay. Dahil sa opportunity na ibinigay ng interviewer na magkapagtrabaho siya bilang houseboy habang naghihintay na may mag-open yung hotel, nabigyan dito si Tope ng makapag-ipon. Ipinakita ng interviewer na hindi basihan yung itsura at katayuan sa buhay para makatulong sa nangangailangan. Yung interviewer ang naging daan para makahanap si Tope ng trabaho. At the end of the day, naging tagumpay siya at nagkaroon siya ng sariling bahay, sariling sasakyan, at nakapagtapos ng mga anak ng mga kolehiyo. Reflection, 5 takeaways from this story. The Waray people are brave. This is not a myth, it's a reality. Number 2. Education does not guarantee success, character does. Tupe was deeply motivated to help his family. He led his plan to escape poverty brick by brick until he was able to achieve his goal. Number 4. Despite one physical situation, what matters is your spirit. Number 5. Loyalty pays. Tope started working in Shangri-La, Manila at the age of 19. He plans to continue working there until he retires at the age of 60. That will be a good 40 years. Tope is already assured a comfortable and peaceful retirement ahead. Case number 6. What can I say? The Philippines has over 100 major dialects while the world has over 6,000 major languages. Today, talking to anyone with a different language, ethnicity such as French, German, Spanish, or even the more difficult language such as Chinese, Japanese, Korean, or Russian is made easier by technology and the use of our cell phones. In the tourism industry, diversity in language and dialect is spoken in the norms. Today, talking to anyone with a different language ethnicity such as French, German, and Spanish, this is the very reason Filipino tourism and hospitality professionals are among the most sought after staff by the leading international hospitality airline and cruise liners all over the world. You will see Filipinos in driving car and taxis or being butler or chef for the rich and famous in Switzerland and Monaco. These Filipinos are hired and keep their jobs for a long period because of their facility to speak English.